Alright everyone, we're basically going to do, we're going to review the exponent rules we learned last time, and then we're going to extend them and we're going to learn 2 more rules. So we have the ones that we did last time, and then we're going to add on what we already know. So, last note video I explained this whole Pac-Man DS thing, okay? So P-Man or Pac-Man DS. This is a way to memorize what the rules are. And we went over the first 2. That when you have a power of a power, you multiply the exponents. So power, you multiply the exponents. So, let's say we have here, we got a whole lot going on. The biggest mistake y'all make is you forget to apply this to the big coefficient, the big number. So what is 2 squared? And 2 squared is 4. So I put a 4 here. I bring down my x. And then I multiply my exponents. What is 2 times 2? Well, that's 4. Put the 4 there. I bring down my y. What is 2 times 3? And that answer is 6. And that's my answer. Okay? Just a review of last class. Let's do another one. Actually, no. That's just a review. Let's go over the other rule. So when you have a power of a power, you multiply. When you multiply, you add the exponents. Okay? So when you're multiplying, you add the exponents. So here's an example of one here. So here I'm multiplying. That's what the dot means. I have an exponent of 2. There's no exponent here, so I'm going to put a little 1. We're both x's, so I bring the x down. And then 2 plus 1 is 3. Okay? As simple as that. Let's look at another one. So now I have a lot more going on. First of all, what is 2 times 3? And 2 times 3 is 6. So I bring my 6. I have an a, so I bring my a down. I have an exponent of 2 here and no exponent. Well, if there's no exponent, it's a 1. So 2 plus 1 is 3. And then I have a b. There's no exponent here, so it's exponent of 1. And 1 plus 5 is 6. Okay? So this is a review of last class. Now let's get on to the new stuff. So, power of a power you multiply. Multiply you add. When you're adding with exponents or subtracting, you do nothing with your exponents. So adding or subtracting means that you do nothing. And you already know this, really. We've done this before, kind of, so I'm going to kind of explain what's going on here. Look at that top problem. 2x plus 3x. You've seen this before. This is nothing new. It's combining like terms. So 2x plus 3x just means you have 5x's, right? I didn't change any of the exponents. I did nothing with them. I just added the numbers. Okay? Also something that you know, 2x plus 3y, if they're different numbers, I cannot add them. Or sorry, if they're different letters, I cannot add them. They're not the same. Remember that? So make sure that you are not adding things that aren't the same. So let's look at an example here. Oops, sorry. Took an extra one. Okay. 3x squared plus 4x squared. So, these are the same. X squared. If it was x squared and x to the third, they'd be different, but they're the exact same thing. So all we do is add. 3 plus 4 is 7 x squared. Alright, you don't add the exponents or anything. You just leave it alone. You do nothing. Let me give you an example of why this happens. 3x squared means I have 1, 2, 3 x squared. 4x squared means I have 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you add them all up, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 x squared, which is, I mean, they didn't magically turn into the fourths or anything, right? So that's how it works. Let's do another one. I have a to the third and a to the third. So they're the same letter, same exponent, so we can combine them. 6 minus 4 is 2. So I have 2 a to the third. Okay? You don't have to write this out, but let me just show you. If I have 6 of them, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 a to the thirds, and I take away 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, I have 2 8 to the thirds. Bam. Okay, so it's just, that's the long way. This is just you knowing the rules how to do it. Okay? You're also going to see a bunch of things put together. So here I have an x squared, and here I have an x squared. But this is not x squared, so I can't combine them. So 10 plus 5 is 15 x squared. And then I have this 3y squared. There's nothing to combine it with, so I just write it on the back. Plus 3y squared. Okay? That's the answer. Last one of these ones. I want to just explain it. This is a to the 10th, and this is a to the 3rd. So yes, they both have a's, but they are not the same. This is a to the 10th power. This is a to the 3rd power. I cannot combine them if the exponents are different. I write that down. Do not combine, and by combine I mean add or subtract, if the exponents are different. Now, you could multiply them. If you're multiplying, you could do it, but if you're adding or subtracting, you cannot combine them if those exponents are different. So this is just the answer. Sorry, guys. That's just the answer because I cannot combine anything. They're different things. Okay? Last rule, and this one's actually probably the easiest one. All right? Power of a power, you multiply. Multiply, you add. When you're adding, you do nothing. And when you divide, you subtract the exponents. Divide means that you subtract the exponents. Make sure you only subtract the exponents, not the big numbers. Subtract the exponents. So let me give you an example. X to the 4th over x squared. So we have x's, right? So I'm just going to write x. And since we're dividing, I just subtract my exponents. 4 minus 2 is 2. And that's the answer. Pretty simple. Okay, let me show you why. X to the 4th means we have, I'll write down here, x times x 4 times. Okay? X squared means we have it 2 times on the bottom. And then in middle school, if you remember, you can cross off things that are alike. Well, those are alike, and those are alike. So all that's left is 2x's, basically, x squared. And that's why it's true. Maybe another example here. Now, you know how to do this part. You'll forget, like you'll try to put a wrong answer here, but what is 10 divided by 2? And that answer is 5. So you put a 5 here, because 10 divided by 2 is 5. And then we have a's, so I put an a. And 5 minus 2 is 3. Biggest mistake is you'll put an 8 here, because you'll do 10 minus 8, or minus 2 to get 8. Don't do that. The big numbers you just treat like normal. We only subtract the exponents. Let's do another one. So I have x's here, and I have y's. If this y doesn't have an exponent, I'm going to put a little 1 on there. So I'm going to write my x's. 3 minus 2 is 1. So you could write the 1, or you don't have to. And then I write my y. 2 minus 1 is 1. So you could write the 1 or not. So you could write that as your answer, or you could just put xy, because you don't have to write the 1. Alright? Next one. So we have a big number here, but no number. And if there is no number, it's like a 1. 7 divided by 1 is just 7. I bring down my x's. 10 minus 3 is 7. So I'm going to put a 7 here. And then look what happens with the y's. Look, 2 minus 2 is 0. They just cancel out. So basically there's no more y's. You're not going to put y to the 0. You just don't put it, and there you go. Okay? So if it's the same number and you're subtracting them, they just kind of go away. Alright, last example. X squared minus x squared. So before I told you they canceled out, right? Like, so there's no x's, but the answer is not 0. Let me show you. If there is no coefficient, the coefficient is 1, right? So what is 1 divided by 1? And that answer is 1, like that. And then x's, well, that's 2 x's. 2 minus 2 is 0. Those cancel out. So there's no x's, but the answer is still 1, okay? Because of those coefficients there, not 0. Big mistake. So if they cross off like that, make sure there's a 1 there, not a 0. And last but not least, The writing was done by Kyla. Apparently she wants some recognition for that. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm here to help you. We are going to have an exponent test in a little bit. We're going to kind of review these rules more, but that will be your next test grade, is the exponents test.